Listeners, beware, you're in for a scare.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Nightmare on Fear Street. I'm your host, Zack.
I'm your other host, Ember.
And I'm your Spooky Dukes host, Meg.
Spooky Dukes.
Oh, the
I like that.
spookiest. So, guys, how was your guys' week?
I started a new job yesterday. I am now tutoring teenagers in English.
Welcome to the club.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I have to talk to a
Actually-
16-year-old boy about poetry.
Is he learning sonnets or is he learning
He is learning
couplets?
metaphysical poetry, the works of John Donne,
Oh, my.
Oh, why?
who I had
stanza?
never heard of him before. So I had to learn everything on one weekend.
Wow, so you did a crash course on John Donne? You should have come to me. I majored in that in college. I could have totally
nice.
helped you
Well,
out.
Maybe after the show you can teach me some more.
I can totally do that.
Teach me your ways. I want to just philosophy my brain and poetry as heck.
Philosophy
Poetry
your brain?
as heck.
Poetry. Wow, such poetry.
Anyway, how was your spooky week, Ember?
Actually, my spookiest of the week happened today. So for those of you who don't know, I teach part-time at a high school. And so today we had a lockdown.
Oh, geez.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Was it a drill or was this like a real lockdown?
No, it was a real lockdown. It wasn't an active shooter situation. It was just, so from what I understand, a kid brought a gun to school, got into a fight.
What?
Yeah, it's more regular than you realize. It's the biggest school. It's a deal. Anyways, so the kid brought a gun to school, got into a fight, got wrestled to the ground, and the gun went off, and we got locked down.
Oh.
So
Oh, I'm so
Was
sorry.
anybody hurt?
Well, at least.
nobody was hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Everybody's okay. Everything's fine. It was one of those situations where I have a small group of students, and so I didn't want them to go with the other students because a ton of other students went to the auditorium, and I was like, no, guys, we're going to go to the costume room. It's nowhere. It's hard to find. It's got a metal door. It's got no windows and only one entrance and exit kind of. I was just like, let's get in here. So I was hanging out with my students for an hour and a half in there, and yeah, that was probably the spookiest part of my week.
Yeah. When the first week of starting college, the first Friday, we had a bomb scare, so I was stuck in my English class for about 6 hours.
Yeah, bomb scares are crazy. They didn't evacuate you?
They're not fun. Oh, no, they told us just to be because it's a really big campus.
Huh.
They didn't want us to come out in case, if a bomb were to go off.
Yeah. Oh.
And then afterwards, they were the police were checking everyone's car, so we were stuck in the parking lot for another 6 hours.
Wow.
Yikes.
And stuff kind of happens,
Somebody
unfortunately,
threatened
so.
to bring a bomb to school at my uni once, but it never happened.
Wow.
Well,
Why? We could totally go into the state of the world where the fact of the matter is we've all had this kind of experience.
Yeah. I just remember when I was in high school, somebody brought a knife to school and stabbed another kid.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah, he was getting bullied. And he brought a knife in his lunchbox, right? So that when this kid came up to him on the playground and started picking on him, he just stabbed him in the shoulder.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I that what happened when I was 11.
Wow. Gosh,
And
was
the
the
kids
kid
that
that
did
young?
that were 13.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it does really say a lot when all of us have had someone brought a weapon to school experience.
Yeah. We live in a world post-Columbine.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. All right. Well, Zach, how was your week?
Oh, my week was super scary. I woke up to a really interesting email this morning that I had to text Ember about.
I got that text.
And we're going to have someone super special on the show for Turning Back the Pages. And I made a Muppet, yay.
Yay.
So I flung my arms up And I was excited. Other than that, a lot of spooky things happened with work. And it's been really fun. And then the spookiest thing happened. I went to go see Lego Batman and screamed like a banshee.
I hate you because that's not coming out in Australia until March 30th. I have to wait until my birthday to see it.
What? Why?
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
It was made in Australia, but they're not releasing it here until a month after they release it in America.
That's evil.
It's really funny, and if you like Batman, I was freaking out about the stupidest, littlest Batman Easter eggs, which happen a lot in this movie.
I've heard it's like the best Batman movie since The Dark Knight. That's what people are saying.
Oh yeah, no, I can confirm that just because they make fun of 60s Batman in the world's greatest way possible.
Well, I love 60s
it made me
Batman.
happy.
I haven't seen it yet either, but I saw John Wick this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, did they kill John Wick's cat this time?
No, they didn't kill John Wick's cat. Oh my gosh. I love the first John Wick. The second one was, in my opinion, not as funny, and that made me really sad, but I will definitely go see the John Wick 3 that they're definitely going to make because they left it so open-ended.
Oh, yeah, so they're going to kill John Wick's goldfish in that one. He just goes straight up postal.
That just reminds me of when Taken 3 came out. I was joking around with my friends, and we were like, okay, so Taken 1 was his daughter gets taken. Taken 2 was his wife gets taken. What happens at Taken 3? Does he get taken?
Oh!
And then he has to rescue himself?
We got, like, he's, like, trapped in his own, like, head. It's like Inception.
Oh.
And he has to, like, fight all his demons.
Oh.
I would actually watch that if they put Liam Neeson in like Inception. He's fighting his own dreams.
Wow.
All right, so I guess we should probably talk about the book we read.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we actually have some really spooky, scary Goosebumps news. A lot of Goosebumps news this week.
Ooh.
So, firstly, they announced a Fear Street movie that's in pre-production.
You know, it's funny.
That was weird.
Zach told me about this before R.L. Stein tweeted it.
No, because he was doing a Q&A. He actually liked one of our tweets.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
So that's really cool. I was freaking out. Ember was freaking out.
I was also freaking out.
I think the whole world freaked out. And then we got some bummer news this week. The Goosebumps 2 movie that they just announced has been delayed for almost the whole year. So it was supposed to come out on January 26th, 2018, but now it's pushed back to September. So, lame Vils. But the coolest news is they showed off some panels for the new Man-Thing comic that R.L. Stein is making, and it looks amazing. It's very goosebumpy.
I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited for that. I'm a huge graphic novel and comic book nerd, and therefore this will just fulfill multiple aspects of my nerdy happiness.
It's ironic that we're doing a book right now about axe-murdering plant dad, and he's writing a thing about Man-Thing. A plant-based...
Is Man-Thing like Swamp Thing at all?
It's a rip-off of Swamp Thing, yeah.
I just watched Justice League Dark the other day.
Did you like it? Did you like Mark Hamill's voice?
Yeah. He wasn't in it.
Yeah, he was Swamp Thing.
Was he?
Yeah, he was Swamp Thing.
I did not recognize his voice, but I was a huge fan of the Constantine TV show.
Oh, I love Matt Ryan.
So I was so excited that Matt Ryan did the voice of Constantine.
I wish they would just bring it back. But, of course,
yes.
The only reason why...
I mean, like, how many seasons has Arrow been on?
5.
Why hasn't Constantine got that kind of
Because it was at the same time slot as Supernatural.
Oh. Why can't Supernatural just end?
Thank you. It should have ended, like, after season 3, and I would have been happy with it.
I love Supernatural.
I don't like Supernatural.
I'm so sorry for you.
Meg, high five.
I can't do the demon stuff. It's just like all of like when you get into like the tiers of hell and heaven and angels and all of that kind of stuff.
So you shouldn't read his Dark Materials.
That was the only thing I didn't like about his Dark Materials. Everything else about it was good, but then when it's like, and now we're gonna go kill God. Okay, what?
Oh yeah. Luckily, this comes out after we finish the Golden Compass. So.
Okay, we should talk about this book. So, listeners, if you've never read the book before, the book that we read this week was Stay Out of the Basement. Ooh. And here's a little summary of the book according to the back. Dr. Brewer is doing a little plant testing in his basement. Nothing to worry about. Harmless, he says. But Margaret and Casey Brewer are worried about their father, especially when they meet some of the plants he's growing down there. Then they notice that their father is developing plant-like tendencies.
On mine, there's after he's developing plant-like tendencies, it says, in fact, he is becoming distinctly weedy.
Oh God,
and
there's puns.
seedy.
They must have cut this puns out of my copy.
Yes, because then they say, then they notice that their father is developing plant-like tendencies. In fact, he's becoming distinctly weedy and seedy. Is it just a part of their father's harmless experiments, or has the basement become a little shop of horrors? I think, yeah, I can see why they cut that.
Because I have the modern versions.
Yeah, I have the old ones.
They cut the blurb short so that they can have, like, advertisements for other Goosebumps books at the bottom. So, on the bottom of mine, it says, it has Phantom of the Auditorium, Vampire Breath, and Night of the Giant Everything.
Okay, I think that's a Goosebumps 2000 book.
It's Goosebumps Hall of Horrors, actually.
Oh, Hall of Horrors.
Also, The Five Masks of Dr. Scream. We all have 3 different versions of the book.
Yes, there's so many different versions. How should we start this? Should we start with the OG one that everyone remembers from the VHS copy?
The one with the hand coming out of the basement? I have a slightly updated version of that illustration.
Fun fact about this book is that when it first was written, Tim Jacobus, the person that does all the Goosebumps covers, actually didn't draw the one for Stay Out of the Basement. That's why it looks much creepier than the other ones, and it's much more weirdly detailed. So the one that I have it shows a door being opened by a hand. Not just any hand, a green hand. It's almost like the Jolly Green Giant shrunk down and is trying to open up this door.
And on my one, I think it's really cool that he's got, like, rose thorns for fingernails.
That's awesome.
I didn't even notice that, but mine just has some...
Yeah, he's got rose... On my cover, he's got, like... There are, like, vines with rose thorns on them. And he has rose thorns coming out of the tips of his fingers that look like fingernails. It's so cool.
Mine has, like, his knuckles are all red, like he's been punching something.
That
one's the one that I remember. But mine is completely different from that. It's like, it looks like a kid made entirely out of tree parts. Just everything is exploded with tree parts.
Yeah, that's actually the one that Tim Jacobus did.
Well, then I have the Tim Jacobus one.
Yeah.
I think that one's one of the weirdest ones, but there's so many more weirder ones just through around the world. We're like looking at them.
Yeah. My favorite one is probably the Korean one. It's this creepy looking dude with the very stereotypical villain glasses, you know, the completely whited out ones that so you can't see their eyes. And out of his brain is erupting these dark root vein-like things. It's very creepy.
I know the Japanese version is like as a kid plant creature growing out of a tube. He's a tube baby.
Test tube baby. Yeah, but the French one is probably creepy too because it's a little boy getting strangled by black vines.
It's very Jumanji-like.
Jumanji.
Yeah.
That was a lot that was going through my head.
The plant in Jumanji really scared me when I was a kid.
See, the weird thing about this is that plants are really scary.
They can be.
Yes.
But we forgot the most important part of this book. We forgot the stupid pun in the beginning and the back of the book.
The tagline?
So the front of the book is, yes, the tagline is, "There's something waiting in the dark," is the front one. And in the back it says, "Live plants?
Live plants.
Dead people?
Dead people."
Question mark.
Which is false advertising because there's no actual, like, dead people in this book.
Well, certainly one person dies.
Yeah, but... Oh, well, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Oh, yes. So, first impressions...
Anyway, this book is very, like, Cronenbergian at times.
Oh, yeah. No, I was thinking a lot of, like, Alien Resurrection.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, good. That's not a movie you'd want to watch.
Yeah. But, like, the whole thing where he's, like, eating the plant food, and the whole idea that there's, like, 2 booths that you go into one, all of that kind of reminds me of The Fly.
Yes, I also had that impression a lot.
But then also, when they go down into the basement and you see, like, the human-plant hybrids, and they've got faces and they're all moaning, that is very David Cronenberg to me.
See, that's what reminded me of like Alien Resurrection, because there's a part, big spoiler, the main hero finds out that she's been cloned and she's the only like successful one. So they have this room just filled with like mutated versions of her, and she just takes a flamethrower and like kills them all.
Huh.
That's where the expression "kill me" comes from.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like that was in something before that, though. I feel like that's a stock phrase that has been around for years.
That's the first time I heard it, so I'm saying it's the first time for me.
Okay. Well, so this book starts off with the kids, and they're playing Frisbee, and they're like, "Dad, catch the Frisbee," and the dad's like, "No." And it describes him as loping back into the house, which makes me imagine him as like, so got a hunchback, like
slouching, like, man, I've had a bad day at plant school.
No, but like loping is like a wolf running or something. Like I don't know. I always imagined loping as being sort of like a lopsided walking. So like I imagine him being like some kind of like Igor type character who's like limping into the house and
he's walking this way.
I agree. That's how loping is to me.
That's how I imagine loping. So yeah, so you got Casey and you got Margaret, and they're really, the dad's just been fired
from Polytech, which I found out I know where they live now. I originally thought that Polytech was Cal Poly near my house. Turns out there are actually 2 Cal Polys.
Ooh.
So there's one in Northern California, but it's exactly kind of like the one that I live near. So like, they're like near my house now because they got Golden Hills, and Golden Hills are a park near Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. So they're in Northern California.
That's very cool. I cannot say that I relate to the feeling of having a Goosebumps book set anywhere near where I live.
I mean, I'm close enough to Pasadena, so I don't see any weird abominable snowmen.
Yeah, this kind of reminded me of the Abominable Snowman in Pasadena in the way that it was like, the weather is always nice in California.
No, it's not. It's just painfully hot, or it's painfully wet.
Yeah, but he makes a point of it. You know, there was like, what's the friend's name? Diane, who has red hair. Take a drink. She goes, "What do you think this is, Michigan? It's always a nice day here." No, I'm sure there are some times where it's a bad day in California.
Yeah, when it rains. Other than that, it's just miserably hot.
So the dad is a botanist, and he was fired because his experiments were too out there.
Yes, he wanted to make
as far
plants-based animals.
And plants with animal genes.
Oh, yes. Which clearly goes right.
Which is actually a thing that scientists have done. They have some strawberries that have been given salmon genes to be able to withstand cold snaps.
Huh. So great. Now I just see a bunch of
ethical questions.
Plant looking like fish.
No, they don't. It doesn't affect the appearance at all. It's very boring in real life.
I would imagine so, seeing how a David Cronenberg machine does exactly what it doesn't supposed to do and turn plants into people.
Yeah. Well, so with that, they start to notice that the mom goes away.
Yeah, she has her sister's actually in ICU.
Yeah, her sister's in hospital. Yeah.
In Tucson.
Her sister's in hospital in Arizona. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Tucson. I guess they had to get rid of the mom so the readers wouldn't be like, well, why doesn't the mom just talk to this guy?
Yes, because he's really mean and cold.
Yeah, why doesn't the mom just talk to him? So he does. He becomes very mean and cold towards his children. He holds himself up in the basement, and then he starts wearing a Dodgers hat.
This is I live in an angel household, thank you very much. I found that to be really disturbing.
As somebody who doesn't know squat about American sports.
Sure.
What is the Dodgers? Are they baseball or football?
They're baseball. They're a baseball team that's set in LA.
Okay.
And they have some of the best hot dogs when you go to the stadium, but I don't like baseball.
Aw, that's a bummer for you.
Oh, well, I work near Angel Stadium, so if I ever get Angel tickets, I'll go see baseball Angels. Or I'll just watch Angels in the outfield.
I was waiting for that. So one thing that I did notice about the mom, and also the fact that their dad is really cold, is like when the mom leaves, she's like, make sure he eats something once in a while. Like it's this children's responsibility to like take care of this like crazy dad. Also, they tell the girl Diane they're not even like part of their family to take care of. That's just what kind of a what?
Yeah, it's like the mom gets this like 12-year-old girl from down the road to come and be like, oh, make sure my husband doesn't starve to death.
Super not okay. Even for the 90s.
No.
Yeah.
I like how they're also not going to school, so why didn't she take her children with her to see her aunt?
Well, I mean, that makes sense because of like extra plane tickets and also like, it's not a lot of fun to hang out in the hospital for long periods of time. I don't know if you've ever hung out in the hospital for long periods of time, especially as a 12-year-old.
A few times.
So.
If the kids hadn't been at home, then the plants would have just taken over.
Really? Would they have taken over? I feel like this plant dad...
Nobody would have been there to stop them.
This plant dad's kind of terrible. So I don't think anything would be stopped.
Terrible at
being a human, and also he's as vulnerable as a human being. Oh, we forgot the most important part. When they first go down to the basement, their dad freaks out at them and yells at them.
Well, they try to go down to the basement, and he tells them,
"Stay out of the basement."
The title of the book.
That's because they like notice that he's like hurt his hand, and his hand is bleeding and stuff.
And then it very abruptly cuts to the kids doing something else. Yeah, it cuts to the mom leaving right after that happens.
Yeah, because the chapter ends when he says stay out of the basement.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, weird things start to happen, like Margaret is noticing their dad doesn't call her his silly names anymore, like Princess or Fatso.
Which is an ironic nickname because she's really skinny.
Which is funny, because isn't it in... Sideways Stories from the Wayside School, they actually have the same type of joke.
Yes, that's right. There was the Eric.
Eric's, yes. And one of them's just Fatso, but he's super skinny. That's what I was thinking of.
They're playing Frisbee again sometime after the basement incident. And they throw the Frisbee at their dad, which knocks his Dodgers cap off, revealing that all of his hair has fallen out and there are now leaves growing out of his head.
Yes, and... something that's kind of weird, but he just shrugs it off. I'll explain it later, folks.
Yeah, he's just like, oh yeah, this is a side effect of the experiment. This is a side effect. At that point, you would be like, okay, my dad's down there playing God. Something terrible is going to happen. That's not like, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm working on this thing.
No.
With plants, and I'm allergic to them, so I got a rash. It's fine, kids. It's not like that. It's like, oh yeah, the fundamental composition of my DNA has changed in such a way that leaves are now coming out of my head.
I feel like that would also be really painful to also have leaves growing out of your head.
It would be. But the dad's just like, it's fine, guys, it's fine.
It kind of reminds me that at that point you'd also have photosynthesis. So it'd be like that one person that starved to death because she thought that she had photosynthesis.
You mean the Breatharians?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what?
The people that believe they can survive on sunlight alone. Air.
Yes, but this was like an actual California woman that did this.
Yeah, but they routinely starve to death. That's why there's not a lot of them.
It's like the Shakers.
I just imagine she just jumps onto the sidewalk and she's like SpongeBob, photosynthesis. Photosynthesis.
Well, you can pretend to be plants. Photosynthesis. Yeah, so the dad, he puts his Dodgers cap back on and he's like, it's fine, guys, it's fine. And he goes downstairs and the kids are understandably freaked right out.
Yes.
And they resolve to go down. Do they go down to the basement again? I've lost track.
That's when Casey takes off his shirt.
That's right.
Which was just a really weird scene, because why did he have
They just wanted to have a sort of like rear window moment where it's like, oh, he's coming back.
Oh no, I forgot my shirt. I like how they were there for the afternoon and they didn't realize that he didn't have a shirt on.
Yeah, he just forgot that he wasn't wearing a shirt.
Oh, and then he also says some of the weirdest lines, because then they start R.L. Stein's just trying to connect with the youth. He's like, no! But in an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression.
Oh, God.
And then they also make a joke about RoboCop.
They do.
And then, the first page of this book is like, Dad doesn't play with us anymore. He doesn't even want to play Nintendo with us.
He doesn't even want to play on our brand new Super Nintendo.
Oh, my gosh.
How dare he? How dare he?
He doesn't. I guess he doesn't like the fire flowers or the chomp chomps in Super Mario. He also gets really disturbed.
They're offensive to him as a plant.
He also gets really disturbed when they play Legend of Zelda and they're looking for rubies in the bushes.
So I've made a note in my book here about right after they knock his hat off and he goes down to pick it up. They have a crow flying. A crow flies low overhead and caws loudly. And I reckon that is the first time I've ever seen like the dramatic crow noise written down.
Caw!
You know how that always happens in movies? Like, something will happen and you'll hear a crow in the background, like, caw-caw!
Yeah.
And then, this is the first time I've ever seen that in literary form.
I didn't catch that, because this is also the very first literary form of them trying to get a squirrel out of a room.
Oh, that was, of all of the cop-out cliffhanger chapter endings, that is the worst one, because it's like, the plant's got me, the plant's got me! Nah, it's a squirrel.
And then they spend like half that paragraph trying to get the squirrel out of the house. And then the squirrel is also like their Deus Ex Machina, because that's the only way out.
Because it finds the window. Yeah, so I guess it wasn't totally pointless.
It's just like squeak,
so
squeak.
So then after that, after the part where where the dad has leaves on his head, Margaret sees him cleaning his wound on his hand, but instead of red blood, it's green.
Dun, dun, dun!
I remember that scene from the TV episode very vividly. I think this was the first one that I watched an episode of.
I remember, yes, way back in the day when we used to go to Blockbuster a lot. This is back when we still had VHSs and you could still rent them out. We got one, and that's the first one I watched, and it freaked me out.
My cousins had this one on VHS.
This episode was really freaky, but watching it now, all the acting's so terrible.
Oh my god, when the dad's like, I'm not a mad scientist,
I'm an angry scientist.
You're not a mad scientist, are you, Dad?
No, I'm an angry scientist.
I want that on a shirt,
good.
and I want that on a shirt now.
Wasn't that a joke in Sheep in the Big City as well?
If it is, I bless them for it.
Do you remember the show Sheep in the Big City?
Do I?
You mean Shaun the Sheep?
No, Sheep in the Big City. It was by Mo Willems, the kids' book author. And it was a cartoon about a sheep who was in the big city, and for some reason this army general's trying to get him.
No, not a clue. This might not be an American thing that we had.
No, it was. It was definitely an American thing. But, yeah, they had a character on it called the Angry Scientist.
I think I'm vaguely remembering this now in a very weird way.
Yeah, and the general's mouth never moved when he talked. His teeth were always together.
Oh, he's all clenched like this?
Yeah. Yeah. They can't see that you're doing that.
I know they can't, so I talk like this too.
Anyway, she goes back to bed after seeing her dad's green wound. This is one of the most annoying cliffhanger chapter endings. She thinks her dad has seen her spying on him in the bathroom, so she runs back to her bed, and then she listens for footsteps, and there's no footsteps. So it's like, oh, he's chasing me. Nah.
I think in the TV show, he actually comes and like creeping on her. And she closes her eyes and pretends to be asleep. The old 90s trope.
Yeah. Well, that's a trope of every decade, honestly. And the most disgusting thing ever in this book is that she finds potting soil in her dad's bed, and it's wormy.
Yes. It's creepy, and I don't know. I want to try to figure out, like, does he get, like, warm and cuddly underneath it, and then the worms are just like, yes? Or does he just, like, sleep on top of it all?
He probably, like, cuddles into it, because it's like, plants have root systems, and, they use the earth to keep warm, and...
He's probably gonna, like, suck it up in his skin somehow.
Well, I mean, he's all
Unless
plants.
he's got roots on his feet and he just takes his shoes off and, like, rubs his feet around in it.
Just great visuals I'm getting right now.
Yeah, I just feel like he just, like, hops into the bed and he just, like, nestles into it, and then he puts, like, the sheets on, and he's just like, oh, I'm so warm right now. I don't want to get out of bed. Hashtag plant goals.
See, this is the other reason why the mom had to go away, because if the mom had still been there, it would have been
like, well, the mom totally would have noticed if her bed had suddenly become like a flippin' potted plant. All right, we're gonna talk about how the dad, the plant dad, I should say, commits murder.
Wait, when does he commit murder?
He kills Mr. Martinez.
I thought he lived.
Where is Mr. Martinez?
He lived. He's locked in the basement with
the dad?
The actual Dr. Brewer. Yeah.
With the real dad,
remember that. Why did
That's why at the end of the book he gets his job back.
I don't remember that. Why do I not remember
I don't
that?
think he can get his job back if Mr. Martinez is axe murdered.
And I suppose it is a children's book, and therefore I should, assume that murder isn't real. But kidnapping.
Oh, no. In this book, no. That's not true. In this book, it has the most horrifying description of someone being chopped in half with an axe.
Yeah, but it's a plant.
Well, the plant man.
It still looks like a human.
It's a plant.
And they find it. Okay, they go down to the basement again to look for Mr. Martinez because they find his jacket down there. And they say, hey, Dad, Mr. Martinez left his jacket. What's that about? And then they go down there and they also find his pants.
Yeah, and they're
his
like,
shoes.
you lied to us, Dad. And then Dad's like, I'm not your real dad.
I'm a plant dad.
man.
But he is real. He's like, no, I am your real dad. This other guy is the plant dad. Although it's very...
Oh, no, because then they open up... No, wait. First they do is they open up the door.
Yeah, they go down and first they find the tomato
Right,
with
which
the
is
human
creepy
face,
as all
Which
get out.
is really creepy.
That is the creepiest image in this book.
Also, the plants make like a weird like sound. I actually have it.
They're always like moaning.
Wait, no, I have a. Oh no, okay. So the from my book, I just marked it. Another low moan, a mournful sound, muffled like air through a saxophone. All I was thinking of was like Careless Whisper. That's all I was thinking of.
Okay, now
like,
we need to
this is like a
find...
nice place to have plants.
We need to find a clip of Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors and just slow motion it and transpose the Careless Whisper over top of it.
Feed me! Feed me now! I'm starving! Must be blood. Feed me, Carbon! Feed me now!
Gosh, if only I had my tablet, I could actually like animate a little Audrey 2 with a little saxophone. That would be great.
Meg, get on it.
I'll do it.
Oh, that's right. You're an animator.
This is the best part of having an artist.
This.
Oh my gosh.
And yes, and also has to have like George Micheal like sunglasses.
Yeah.
Oh, so they break their dad actually out of the basement with Mr. Martinez, and their mom comes home with the plant dad, and then they have the old thing of like, don't shoot him, I'm the real one, except they use an axe.
Yeah.
Yes. And the girl, Margaret, she manages to get the axe.
Yeah.
And she has to choose between left papa or right papa.
Honestly thought she was going to chop off one of their hands.
Well, doesn't she
With the
poke
axe?
them?
Oh. Yeah, no.
She stabs her dad in the hand to see
Yeah.
what color his blood is.
It's like the part in the thing where they have to test each other's blood.
It is. This book is like it's got parts of The Fly and parts of The Thing. It's very like 80s gross horror.
Yes.
I was just like imagining all the blood coming out like from the other person. It's just like green and it's like growing out plants and stuff.
What if it's like that, what's that monster in Hellboy? And it's like when they kill it, like plants grow out of its remains.
I don't remember, but Hulk does
It's
that.
in Hellboy too.
That's probably why I don't know it.
Like the Prince Nuada puts this like seed into the sewer and this like giant plant creature comes out. And when they kill it, wherever it bleeds, like plants immediately grow up.
I was thinking of like the Incredible Hulk and Planet Hulk, because in that, when he actually gets cut, his blood actually makes plants grow. So that's why everyone wants to kill the Hulk in that.
Huh.
Because it's a whole desert planet, and bleeding the Hulk makes life. It's very Dune-ish.
Spices life.
That's very weird.
Spice's life.
That's Spice's love, Spice's life. That's very weird that happens with the Hulk, because it's like, I didn't. Does gamma radiation have some kind of effect
It
on
does, as a
plants
matter
or
of
just
fact.
like
There's
that?
actually a book about it from, I think, the 1960s or the 1970s. It's called Gamma Marigold and the Effects of Gamma Rays or whatever. It's a fiction book, and it's about it. I want to find that now, but there's like a book about it that I think my mom read as a kid.
Well, anyway, this book ends with
them horribly chopping up the plant dad.
Yeah, they chop up the plant dad. And it's a gross description. And I would like to read it Yeah, so the Dr. Brewer in the cab opened his mouth wide and uttered a hushed cry of alarm. The cry was choked off as the axe easily cut through his body, slicing him in two. A thick green liquid oozed from the wound, and as the man fell, his mouth locking open in disbelief and horror, Margaret could see that his body was actually a stem. He had no bones and no organs.
Dun dun dun!
Yikes!
Oh my gosh.
Right?
That is hardcore.
It is. This is one of the most hardcore.
It's very
Goosebumps
hardcore.
books.
The sad thing is when I was reading it, I was thinking very like visceral gore horror, and they're just opening it up and he's like slowly splitting in two.
That's what I saw too.
Yeah. Except it's green plasticine instead of red plasticine.
Though my favorite quote in this book is actually when he gets his hat knocked off and he's trying to explain to his kids why he's a plant. He says, "I guess you two think your dad's gone pretty weird." Dude, you got leaves growing out of your head and you're bleeding green. There's something really wrong with you, and the CDC needs to find out really quickly.
Hey kids, Dad's gonna be a bit of a plant for a while, so...
You know, he has a trouble. Make sure that he eats. He's always been vegging out on the couch a lot.
Gosh.
I'm surprised, like, the pun of this book isn't, like, they're sowing the seeds of his discontent.
Oh, gosh.
I just was thinking of too many plant puns today.
I'm so glad you did.
Oh, and then I remember in the TV episodes, like, I told your aunt that you've been growing like weeds.
Okay, so the end of this book, like the very end of this book. So you think everything's happy. It cuts to like a week later and they're having a family barbecue. Dad's got his job back. Everybody's playing Frisbee and they're happy.
The basement's been turned into a rec room.
Yeah, finally. They finished turning it into a rec room. And then Margaret looked down to see a small yellow flower nudging her ankle. "Margaret," the flower whispered, "help me, please. Help me. I'm your father. Really, I'm your real father." What?
That's like one of the weirdest endings.
Someone explain this ending to me.
I think the plant is trying to trick her because obviously her dad is her real dad because he is not bleeding green and covered in vines. Or sleeping in dirt.
Or maybe he's kind of like Swamp Thing, where his consciousness goes into all living plant matter.
That would be quite the psychic fracture.
Yes. So he basically he's Man-Thing now, so can't help you there.
Oh, yeah. This is... Man-Thing is the sequel to this book.
What would be the sequel to this book? Because this never got a sequel.
This never got a sequel, so I choose to believe that R.L. Stine's run on Man-Thing is going to be a sequel to this book.
It's actually Dr. Brewer in his younger years, and he actually turned into Man-Thing.
Yeah.
So really, the basement is the sequel.
My book copy has this behind the screams section at the back, where you have Q&A with R.L. Stine. I'll just give you a sample question. What kind of creepy things are hiding in your basement? R.L. Stine: "My basement is just like everybody's basement. It's filled with all the stuff everyone keeps around. Old books, old clothes, a few coffins, a decaying mummy, jars of zombie dust, bat blood, all the normal stuff."
R.L. Stine is so cool.
Dude, he has exact same things I have in my basement besides the huge meat
I know,
locker.
he has things that everybody has in their basements.
Totally.
That's what he said.
Ember, don't you have like a huge meat locker filled with ice cream and dead people?
Actually, you want to know what's funny?
Yeah.
Is this house has this like locked up like room, but it's got a screen in the door so you can like see in and out. So it looks like a flippin' jail cell, and you can lock it from the outside. And we call it the torture room.
The torture room?
It's
there's one thing that defeats the purpose of this book. A lot of houses in California don't have basements.
It's true. It's true.
I know. They make a point of that in the Santa Clarita Diet, I think.
Have you been watching the Santa Clarita Diet?
Oh my god, my
I
ears.
watched it all in one day.
Oh my gosh, it's so good!
Also, there's a part in this that made me think of it where Casey pretends to have a seizure. And it made me think of when Abby does that on the and she keeps doing it like 5 times.
I was so worried that she was going to cry wolf and no one was going to believe her and she was actually going to convulse.
I thought that
I'm so glad that didn't happen. Oh, but I have to say this, and I have to say this out loud. There's this tweet that I found about Timothy Oliphant, the husband, and I think it describes the way that I feel about him 110%, which is what Timothy Oliphant does to shirts should be illegal and prison should be my house.
Yes.
So good. And also, Drew Barrymore can get it. She's so cool.
I know. I love her.
Gosh.
Is it sad that I haven't seen this yet? So it's really fun to listen to you guys.
Oh God, Zach,
You're gonna
you'll
love
it. It's
Let me just say this.
Everyone keeps telling me to watch it. I'm going to watch it tonight. I was watching Star Trek last night and fell asleep.
Nathan Fillion in the first episode, and it is the best thing ever.
It's so
Wait. Stop the presses. Stop this podcast. What did you just say, Ember?
You heard me. Drew Barrymore eats Nathan Fillion in the first episode, and it's the best.
Sold.
She bites his fingers off.
So I'm watching this when I get home tonight.
This is the best part. This is why I think that my suggestion to watch it is more important than everybody else's, because I have a terrible fear of vomiting, and there's so much vomiting in this show.
But you suffered through it?
Oh my God, I suffered through it. I made it through.
Hey Ember, were you sick to your stomach?
No.
Anyway, they've got the section on cloned animals in here as well.
Oh.
What do Dolly the sheep, Copycat the cat, Jane the calf, and Snuppy the Afghan hound have in common? They are some of the 20-plus animal species that have been cloned since the first clone, a tadpole, from 1952. And so there's, like, information about, like, would you clone your favorite pet? Would you eat a clone burger?
Yeah.
Would you bring back the dinosaurs?
Yes, I would. Well, see, that's when we get Jurassic Park, and I would be happy.
Well, no, Jack Horner, he says that we are still 10 years away from being able to bring back dinosaurs, but you could not use their DNA because DNA has a shelf life of 1,000,000 years. And after that time, it becomes completely unusable.
Well, they kind of explain that in Jurassic World, where they clone them. How they splice genes, but in a way that they're not dinosaurs, but they just look like dinosaurs. That's why.
Which is where everything goes to crap.
That's why they don't have feathers.
That too, and also they use frog DNA, which is a bad idea because it actually isn't compatible.
Yeah, why wouldn't you use bird DNA?
Why wouldn't you use banana
or
DNA?
alligator DNA, or gator DNA?
Yeah, well, so what they're planning on doing is they can take a bird, they can mess around with its genetics, reawaken the dormant dinosaur genes within it, and then it'll be a dinosaur.
So when we have the dinosaur apocalypse, I'm going to be so excited.
The dinosaur apocalypse would definitely be the best apocalypse because, like, you could get on the smaller dinosaurs and ride them.
Yes, and we can also combine with the Mad Max apocalypse, so it'll be like a really fun adventure.
I'm just imagining somebody on the back of, like, what are those ostrich dinosaurs?
Oh, the Gallimimus.
Gallimimus, but it's like got racing stripes painted on it, and there's like big subwoofers, and he's just like riding on the Gallimimus, and he's like, "Witness me!" Oh,
yeah, he's like shooting flames out of his guitar.
Yes.
I can just like imagine now Mad Max with dinosaurs, where like the T-Rex is the war rig, and all the little dinosaurs.
There is a show that is like Mad Max but dinosaurs. It's called Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, and it's great.
I love it.
It's a show from the 80s. And it is fantastic. It's about in a post-apocalyptic world where everybody drives around in really cool cars and they fight dinosaurs.
In the 26th century, mankind faces an epic struggle for survival. The forces of nature have spun wildly out of control. Mighty cities have crumbled, and the dinosaurs have returned to reclaim the Earth. A world of Cadillacs and dinosaurs.
Do the show now. I gotta watch this.
Look it up on YouTube. It's great. And then they also have, the monsters of matter and mind. Some of these monsters are real, some are not. Learn the facts so you are not fooled by fiction. Komodo dragon. These meat-eating lizards live underground in the New York subways. No.
That's wrong. That's impossible.
Wrong.
If they did, they'd be called the New York subway dragons, wouldn't they? Because they're called Komodo from where they're from.
Yes.
Which is Komodo Island. Tasmanian devil. I went to a Tasmanian devil sanctuary when I was in Tasmania. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if you know about this, but there is a communicable form of cancer that is wiping out the Tasmanian devil population.
I didn't know that.
Form?
Yeah, it's called facial tumor disease. Something very unoriginal along those lines. And what they're trying to do is they have collected up. They basically go around and they catch every devil that doesn't have it already to vaccinate it and then breed them in captivity to breed a population that is immune to the virus.
So it forms antibodies early on?
Yeah, so then they can release them back into the wild when all of the ones that have the disease have died.
Conservation is so radical.
It is. Save the animals, kids. Yeah, but anyway, the funniest thing that happened to me at this Tasmanian... Well, it didn't happen to me. The funniest thing that I saw at this Tasmanian devil sanctuary, it's like this one Tasmanian devil was like lying on its back, like just kind of vegged out, and some of the people at the sanctuary were like asking one of the keepers, like, what's wrong with that one? I'm worried about him. He's sick. Because he's just, he's lying on his back and he looks kind of
dead,
vegged out. And the guy's just like, oh, that guy, he's just doing that because he's fat. He's not sick. He's just fat. He's just eating too much and now he's chilling.
He's just fat.
My life in a nutshell.
Yeah. I love Tasmanian devils. They're so good. Everybody says they're ugly, but I think they're adorable.
I like ugly animals because I think they're all adorable. That's why I like pugs.
Yes. Oh, I love pugs and French bulldogs.
I want a French bulldog so bad, except they're just like gigantic.
I saw one yesterday and it was just running around with no collar on and it was in the road, so I had to get out. Stop my car, get out, and be like, dog, get out of the road. He wouldn't come in my car though. He thought he was in trouble, so he ran into someone's yard.
See, they're just so adorable. They're just like gigantic walking muscles that don't even walk. They more like lumber.
And they just have the dopiest faces.
I love them. Oh my god.
I love really stupid looking dogs.
I love them because they're like nature's mistakes, but they're so adorable.
And then we also got the Loch Ness Monster. And then we have how to make spooky lantern out of a green pepper.
Is it where you cut it open and then you put googly eyes on it?
No, you put a candle, like something a tea candle in it, and you just cut it out like you would a jack-o'-lantern. It's just a pepper.
I feel like that would smell real bad after a while.
And there are also some plants that it tells you about. Aloe vera. So it's the good, the title of this section is called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Just because you don't see plants pretending to be your dad doesn't mean there's not a whole lot of freaky flowers out there. This book is educational. Aloe vera. If you've ever had a bad case of sunburn, you have paid thankful homage, I always have trouble with that word, to the aloe vera plant. Its internal gel is used to soothe burns and skin rashes. Peppermint. In addition to its pleasing smell and yummy flavor, peppermint is used to treat a variety of ailments. People have used this green herb to help them fall asleep, improve memory, soothe a cough, settle your stomach, or make your breath smell better. Bad. The pitcher plant. This carnivorous plant is only bad news if you are an insect, but larger varieties of this plant have eaten prey as large as a rat.
Cool.
Hemlock. Helpful plants like aloe vera and peppermint may convince you that you can wander up to anything you find in the forest and use it to help you feel better. But you shouldn't eat any old plant you find without knowing the facts first. With its lacy leaves and pretty white flowers, hemlock looks innocent enough, but ingesting as few as 6 leaves could kill you.
It's almost like when I was starting to learn how to take care of my hamster, and I read a whole book about things that hamsters shouldn't eat, and number 1 was deadly nightshade. And I died.
Well, deadly is in the name. I feel like nothing should eat that.
Yes, and that's the number 1 thing, and it's just, why would you put this in the book if I'm just... You have deadly in the title.
And then the ugly. The corpse plant, or devil's tongue. This strange plant has the notoriety of being revolting to look at and to smell. When it blooms, which perhaps thankfully is only once every 4 to 6 years for about 3 days, it stinks of rotten meat. A smell that attracts a carrion-eating beetle. Corpse flower. Next time you're hoofing it through the rainforests of Malaysia, keep your eyes and nose peeled for this olfactory monstrosity, with a smell like decaying flesh and a red spotty surface that would rival a ziti teenager. This plant is hard to miss. Swarms of flies like to cluster around the 3-foot wide flower, the largest in the world. So that was your educational fun time with R.L. Stine.
Thanks, R.L. Stine. So, guys, what are your final thoughts on Stay Out of the Basement? Was it a growing success, or did it not grow on you?
It definitely grew on me.
I liked it. I felt like it was really scary, actually.
I liked it, too. I thought it was definitely one of the creepier ones, and I'm a huge fan of the Little Shop of Horrors, so this one spoke to me, and also it reminded me of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, so yeah.
It reminded me of that episode of... Do you guys remember the Archie's Weird Mysteries?
Nope, I never watched Archie until I started watching Riverdale.
Oh my god, I love Archie. There was a TV show that was on when I was a kid called Archie's Weird Mysteries, and there was an episode where this TV station gets taken over by a space potato.
A space potato?
A space potato.
Okay.
And it's basically Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but like people are taken over by potatoes, and the potatoes turn into people. And there's a part where Jughead is at Pop Tate's malt shop, and he is like the potato clone of Jughead, and he's standing with his feet in a pot, and everybody's like, Jughead, what are you doing? And he goes, this is good for you. It absorbs the nutrients through your feet.
Oh,
and then somebody offers him a French fry, and he's like, you monster! Very weird show. Very funny.
I thought the most scariest part about this book, though, is this is the most realistic Goosebumps book, just because you have the idea of the dad who's like almost really creepily abusive.
Yes, and then like I feel like a lot of kids would be able to relate to this one because it's like when your dad gets laid off from work and he starts acting really weird.
Yeah, he's going through his midlife crisis. He might get a tattoo, might get some piercings,
He might
join a rock
replace all
group.
of his hair with leaves.
Might grow versions of you in the basement.
Yeah, my dad did the exact same face. He's okay now.
Yeah. So, yeah, this book was, I think, as scary as Welcome to Dead House, but without the horrible pacing problems that book had.
I felt like this one actually had much better pacing.
It did, because there was a lot more, like, actual things happening. It wasn't just like, who's there? Oh, no one. Okay, I'm going to go back to sleep.
Though I think the biggest question I had about this book is, what did they do to the plant dad after they chopped him up? Because I'm pretty sure he didn't turn green. He still looked like a human.
Well, maybe they put him through the wood chipper and fed him to the other plants.
Oh my god, it's cannibalism. But okay, now picture that in your head of taking body parts and throwing it into a wood chipper in a residential neighborhood.
What kind of plant do you think he was? Like, he's a tree on the cover of that one, and then he's got sort of like rose bushy on my cover. But like, what if he was part vegetable? What if they just ate him?
Oh my god. Can you pass more of Dad's thigh, please?
Yeah. Let's we're gonna have some stir-fried fake dad.
Oh, I think he was broccoli, actually. I feel like he's the most disgruntled of the vegetable community.
I would like to think that, but we'll see, because broccoli is my friend. I love broccoli. I would like to...
Oh, so he just smelled really weird the entire time?
So they cut him open and he smells really weird.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep, he's Asparagus Man. Okay, speaking of like Plant Man and things related to the phrase Plant Man, there's a part where Casey is teasing Margaret and he goes, oh, the incredible Plant Man! And then he starts like kidding her or something and he goes, Plant Man versus Weed Woman. I was just like, ha!
I would watch that movie. I feel like that would be one of the best awful movies. We do have one listener question.
Oh, listener question?
Yeah, we got a listener question. So it's from Fuzzy866. What is scarier, Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Ooh.
Probably. I'm gonna go with Goosebumps, because Are You Afraid of the Dark was like actually visualized, and sometimes your imagination can do way scarier things than someone doing it for you.
Yeah.
Well, you also have the Goosebumps TV show. So we can compare it that way, because two visual mediums.
I guess. And if we're going by that, I would have to say, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I actually have to say Goosebumps.
To be honest, I don't have really strong memories of Are You Afraid of the Dark, because I was never allowed to watch it when I was a kid. It was too spoopy. Like, I would get... whenever I got scared of something as a kid, I would never shut up about it. So, like, I would just continuously bring it up and, like, talk about it forever. And so my mom didn't want me to do that because, like, obviously I was, like, talking about something that scared me, and that would cause me to have nightmares because I'd be thinking about it so much. So she didn't let me watch anything scary when I was little. And, like, Are You Afraid of the Dark isn't on Netflix. It's not on, like, any of the...
Right.
I wish it was.
It's harder to find than Goosebumps, so I do not have any memories of Are You Afraid of the Dark, so I can't answer that question.
I just think Goosebumps is creepier just because it had such better monster effects.
I can definitively say that Goosebumps is scarier than Round the Twist.
See, I'm going to disagree with Zach and say that Are You Afraid of the Dark is scarier. So, sorry, listener. You're probably not going to get a unanimous answer on this. But if we're comparing the books to the television show, the Goosebumps books are 1,000 times creepier than the television show. Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Hell, the Goosebumps books are creepier than the Goosebumps TV
they are.
show.
Heck yeah, they are.
Because you can get away with so much more in a kid's book than you can in a kid's
True.
show.
Yeah, like chopping someone in half.
Exactly. I think they kill them a different way.
They kill them with weed killer.
Of course they do.
Lame.
Can't have gore.
And they spray it
Can't
on him, and he
plant
just
gore.
screams, and he just melts.
Lame.
Okay, guys, before we wrap this up, any last advice? What if your dad actually became a plant man? What would happen?
I'm pretty sure my dad is actually a plant man, so I can't really answer that question.
My dad can't be a plant man because his allergies are so bad that he would die. Because he's allergic to plants.
My dad might be a plant man because all he does is sleep all day, really. So.
Anyway, if your dad is a plant, tell your mom to get a divorce. If your mom is also a plant, I can't help you.
You're probably also a plant if your mom and dad are a plant. Yeah. Unless you were adopted, in which case your parents love you and they wanted to have you, so just
live with it.
Yes, so they love you very much, and they will try to mulch you every couple days and to give you plenty of water. And in case, take the axe, 40 whacks.
That got dark.
That did get dark.
Anyway.
Very Lizzie Borden there. Okay.
Where can they reach you, Ember?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Ember English or on Instagram at Amours Dansant, which is French for dancing bear.
Find me on Twitter at Meg Tuten, that's at MEGTUTEN, or on Tumblr, sodasodabanana.tumblr.com.
You can find me at Zuda41 on Twitter, or you can reach us at our multiple sites, such as ghoulishfancies.com, Nightmare on Fear Street at gmail.com, Nightmare on Fear Street on all of our social media platforms. Guys, guess what I just found? I just found this weird can. It says Monster Oud. Oh, wait, no, I can't read. It says blood. Huh. Is it like syrup?
Is it like Gack, that cool toy that all of us rad 90s kids had?
Well, we'll open it up next week to find out.
And until then,
I'm Zack.
I'm Ember.
I'm Meg.
And stay spooky.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.